Warning! The following live broadcast may contain loud, obnoxious, shrill, and alarming noises that might be considered disturbing, if not outright uncomfortable to listen to, especially if you are wearing headphones. I share my office space with an African gray parrot and two parakeets, and I have no control over their behavior while I am live streaming, unlike my regular videos where I have the opportunity to edit them out as best as I can. If you are sensitive to loud, surprising background noises, I recommend either not turning your volume up too loud or watching my edited, pre-recorded videos instead. Viewer discretion is advised. Although it is kind of overcast, so hopefully everyone's a little sleepy because of it. So. Hold on, where am I? It's like, what is it? It's like I missed like 2 weeks of doing streams. It's like I forget. I almost forget how to do these things. Oh my goodness. So hello everyone. Welcome. Welcome to another edition of the EgoWorks live stream, draw stream, whatever it is. I have to kind of like settle on a name for this, whatever this is. This convention, not at a convention type of thing that I have going on here. But welcome. Let me see who's joining me in the chat. Hello, Efrain. Bonjour, my friend from Peru. Hello. And yes, I see you, my eyeball people, my precious eyeball people watching from regions beyond. If you are watching from Facebook and if you're joining us, actually, no, I'm not even streaming to Twitter, so I don't know why I'm even going through that. If you are joining me from Facebook, come on over to YouTube. Join Efrain. Keep Efrain company in the chat. Facebook has a tendency to glitch out on me sometimes, and I'm not even streaming to Twitter, so I don't even know why I mentioned it. I guess it's just habit, because in the end, it's like Twitter doesn't even allow me to see your chat, your comments anyway. Oh, so hello, Robert. Hello, welcome. Thank you, everybody, for keeping me company today. Almost didn't make it. But before we get started, before Efrain rings the bell, hello, everyone. My name is Daphne Lage, and I'm a cartoonist, and I am a cartoonist, illustrator. You forgot how to speak English. I am a cartoonist, illustrator, and comic book artist from New York. I have been self-publishing comics since 1992, and you know what that means.
With a few exceptions, the characters on this program are weird and peculiar and not to be trusted.
And I am known for the Furry Fantasy Adventure Tall Tales, which returns to Kickstarter in 2024 with the brand new story arc, Tears of the Mother, with a re-release of issues 1 through 5 and the brand new issue 6. So make sure that you're signed up at our website on our mailing list so that you get notified when those campaigns go live. And I am also known for my mature audiences, medieval fantasy drama, Ego Raven, Heir of the First Unicorn. Thank you so much to everybody who supported the issue 7 campaign. Everything is at the printers, and I am looking to get the books back from them early next week. So thank you, everybody, for supporting issue 7. Issue 8 will be back on Kickstarter early 2024. So thank you so much, everybody who supported the campaign. And hold on. Oh, here we go. And I am also co-host with Nita Lanning on the Rage Into the Vlogs show every Monday and Friday at 11 a.m. Eastern. And this is going to be a very special next couple of shows. Well, I know Friday we're still doing a show because Nita will be joining Heather Allen in New Jersey, and we will be doing a special Rage Lage into the vlogs, where Nita visits the East Coast, I think for the first time. She should be on an airplane right now. Yeah, really looking forward to that. She will be hanging out with Heather in Jersey, and then we're all going to meet together the following Monday. I don't know if we're going to do a stream. I don't think so, but we're going to show Nita a really good time here. Eat some truck falafel, and like I said, have a good time. So yes. And let's see, where am I? And in the meantime, you can read both my comics online at Tall Tales. That's TAILS online.com and egoworks.com, EGOWORKS. And you can check out all my videos on how I make my comics here on YouTube at my channel at Daphne Lage, LAGE Art, which also simulcasts through the Indie Comics Network. So make sure you like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so that you get notified when any of our videos go live. So, oh, thank you so much, Robert. Thank you. I try. Thank you so much. So yeah, like I said, I just came back from Baltimore Comic Con, and boy, are my arms tired. Yeah, I'm just still tired in general, to tell you the truth. So for the last couple of weeks, I have been preparing for Baltimore Comic Con. We did Baltimore Comic Con, and now I am still trying to get over going to Baltimore Comic Con. So if you missed the vlog on Monday, I pretty much give like a down and dirty rundown of the convention, and I even show photos of my booth, a beautiful booth, I might add. The only unfortunate thing is probably the only time I'm going to have a booth that good, a table that good, in the foreseeable future, because it's like, because like I said, I almost didn't do a show today. Hello, HR. Hello. Yes, I see you. Hello. Welcome. I almost didn't do a show today. I missed the last 2 weeks of doing the Wednesday draw stream because I was preparing. I was preparing for the show. There was a lot to do. There was a lot of things that I wanted to finish before I went on vacation. I wouldn't exactly call it a vacation, but sometimes you got to get away a little bit anyway, even if the oh, thank you, yes, it's yes, it's very comfortable, and yes, and I have a whole bunch of these. Also, shopping in the men's section is where you find all the good stuff. So I was so did Baltimore Comic Con, and even like 3 days since, I'm still really, really tired and drained from the show, from doing the convention. And but the thing is, though, I decided, it's like, you know what? I'm just going to have to push through and do a draw stream today anyway, just to kind of like force myself into getting back into a semblance of a routine after, like pretty much stopping everything for it was 4 days, right? Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, for 4 days. Yeah, it's not that I regret doing it. I mean, it's like I said, I give a more down and dirty rundown on the Monday vlog. If you missed it, it's in the playlist, so you can find it on my channel. But it wasn't what I was expecting, unfortunately. I did have a good time regardless. That was good. We met a lot of people that I have only seen online, and it was fun, and it was nice to see them in person. So that was nice. But the problem was that there was no people there. I mean, I think the show probably saw half the attendance that they were expecting, and it showed. It showed. I mean, a lot of the, especially in our area where I was in, our part of the artist alley was very empty. Everybody in my section of the artist alley were not doing well because I don't know, people just, whatever people were in attendance at the show, they were just staying on like the main center area and just pretty much avoiding the artist alley in general, because the artist alley was split into two parts, and which logically would have made sense, but it didn't work out for anybody. It just seemed like I said, everybody, all the attendees just stayed in the center part, where all the, like the dealers booths are, and these comic book celebrities and the signings and whatnot, but they wouldn't really go into the artist alley, and that was kind of like a shame for us, to tell you the truth. If it wasn't for the fact that I had brought my I brought a rounder, what is it, a paper corner rounder with me, I was like punching I was punching all the cards on my table, just to give them rounded corners. So it's like, so I was like literally just like taking like all my bookmarks, all my trading cards, and just rounding the corners the entire weekend, because it's like there was literally nothing to do because there wasn't enough people. But I didn't want to do something that that could feel like I was being interrupted if somebody did come over to the table, which was few and far in between. So so it's like, yeah, so I might as well have had a fidget spinner, at that point. But, I think like for it, in general, I did have a good time, but I am not going to do the show again. In fact, the thing that I learned from this show is that I really need to rethink how I do things in general. And it did, like, I was being a little too enthusiastic with my future planning because I was expecting a lot more from this show. And now it's like, if I do another convention, it's going to be under very specific circumstances, and I'm going to let Jose take care of that. It's like, to tell you the truth, I really do feel like I'm getting too old for this shit, in terms of having to drag all this stuff to a convention center and setting up, and they do. I haven't enjoyed them in a while. And I was really hoping that this would be something a little different, kind of like get those creative juices flowing. But it did, in a strange way, it did, but not for conventions. Not, it's like not for conventions. Um, that's what it felt like. You're like an animal in a cage at a zoo, just hoping people will come look. And that's what it felt like. And the problem was there were no people. Like I said, everybody, they had half the attendance, and everybody just stayed with the usual suspects. I remember being on Tyler Carpenter's show, and he had asked me, in all the years that I've been doing conventions, what was the one thing that I noticed, the difference, the big difference that I was noticing. And the big thing was curiosity. It used to be, back in the day, you could show up to a convention and people would just be excited to see something new at a convention. Just to see, like, oh, I've never seen your book before. Tell me all about it. I need to know. Give me one of everything. There was a lot more enthusiasm for different books, and this hasn't been a thing for a while. Instead, it's like we have this very corporatized environment now where if people don't recognize your book off the bat because they saw it on TV or a large company was involved, like if it's not from Disney, if it's not from Marvel, they're actually suspicious. Like almost like you want to throw a bomb in their lap. It's like they just really don't want to know about it. And that was some yeah, it's like we live in an online world with more and more reading digital. And well, the thing, money is tight, so they're only spending on things that they really know about. Yeah, it was yeah, because I was telling my sister this, who's not really into comics or conventions and stuff, but she pretty much nailed that on the head, where she said that it was our macaroni and cheese theory, where you know, yeah, money's tight, and you know, people are pretty much collectively traumatized, you know, and they only want what they recognize and what they feel comfort in. um so they literally, the audience really doesn't have the mental capacity to parse anything new. um and yeah, and it's like, and that's what it is. um you know, and that's, yeah, and it's just like, yeah, that's kind of, because also this was the thing too, also especially about money being tight, because the one thing that I really noticed was that people weren't like, people were coming to the convention, what people were coming to the con, they weren't shopping. That was this really, really strange thing. You know, because you know how usually you're at a convention and you're watching, it's like you kind of try to avoid the people who are just there with their cell phones, just looking on their cell phones and just walking by, because you know they're not interested. um this one, a lot of people were like that. There weren't a lot of people with shopping bags. If they had anything, it was mostly guys with their collections that they were getting, they were getting signed, because Chris Claremont was there, Mike Grell was there, a whole bunch of people were there, Steve Rude was there, and and uh yeah, so it's like, so they were coming to get their collection, like those were pretty much the people who were really there. Guys coming to get their collections signed so that they could flip them on eBay. Wasn't it expensive to buy a ticket? Yes. Yeah, it was $65 for the weekend, you know. So it's like, yeah, so it's like, yeah, so you had the flippers there getting their book signed, just like, you know, yeah, it's like getting books signed to get their, you know, to make their money, you know, outside of the show on eBay. And everybody else, it's like, really, you paid $65 to spend a weekend at a convention and not do anything, you know. It's like, just to hang out. I mean, I guess they go to the, you know, the panels or something, or, you know, they, you know, and it was because it was so empty, depending on who you wanted to see, you actually could just have full on conversations with whoever you wanted. You know, there wasn't really that much people there. Um, you know, there wasn't even a lot of cosplayers, to tell you the truth. Like, they weren't even there either. There wasn't really a lot of I mean, like casual cosplayers, you know, and it wasn't like, you know how some shows are just inundated with professional cos. There's not even. There was a couple that were really good, but it's like, look, everything was just, yeah, because also what didn't help either is that SPX was being held on the same weekend as well, which I'm pretty sure split the audience. Because I was looking up all the artists I was following who went to SPX, and they were complaining about the same thing. They were saying that they saw a heavy drop in attendance because Baltimore Comic Con was on the same weekend. They were saying the same thing, except opposite shows. So on one hand, it's like, and then what was funny but not funny is that there was a whole bunch of other conventions going on at the same time. Yes, that was also happening. It's like, what, I think the Orioles, not the cookie, the bird, the Orioles, and the Ravens they had some kind they had a thing, a sports ball thing going on that weekend as well. So yeah, it was just I think, but the thing is though, like out in Erie Comic Con, which is another Comic Con that was happening out in Pennsylvania, people were saying that they didn't do well at that convention either. Oh, hey, Gothic Lolita, welcome from Twitch. Hello. So it just seemed like conventions were really, really bad this weekend. Because people, I mean, people were saying, I mean, I think probably only Visenia did well. I don't remember what convention she went to, but I think she was the only one out of everybody, out of the crew that actually did well at a convention. So you know, I don't know. I think it's beyond that now. I think it's beyond that. I think it's just the economy in general is shit. You know, and it's I don't know. All I know is that it just convinced me. Well, that's true. That's true. I know that even for myself, Kickstarter has been kind of, you know, but the thing is though, I think like in my case, I think that just pretty much everyone's waiting for the trade. I'm just about finishing issue 8. I'm halfway through completing issue 8, and once issue 8 is done, that means that I close out volume 2 as well. And I just know that people are waiting. They would rather people were supporting me on the previous campaigns, a lot of PDFs though. Like they would rather, but like they wanted to support me on my campaign, but they didn't want to buy the book. So they bought a lot of PDFs, which is good for me, I guess. So, because I had almost the same amount of backers, just a couple down from last time. Yeah, it's like it's cheaper. It's a way for them to support you while they're waiting. Well, like I said, for me, they're waiting for the trade. So, or at least I think so. I hope so. I hope that they're waiting for the trade. But like I said, this entire convention experience kind of made me rethink a lot of things. And you know, and it's just, yeah, there's just a lot of things that I have to do different. One thing like I said, one thing that I know for sure, conventions definitely are not worth my trouble. That I really get, even on a worse day at no, I did not. I didn't. Not that I was looking, but you know, not that I was I wasn't looking for him, so I didn't see him. So yeah, it's like even on my worst Kickstarter, the return of investment of effort of my effort is significantly more than any convention. So yeah, so honestly, it's like it really isn't worth my time. Hey Jake, it's like I mean, I don't know. I'm trying not to think too far. I'm not trying to think too far ahead, to tell you the truth. I mean, you know, but yeah, that's like, you know, like even my worst Kickstarter is better than my best convention. And that's not saying, you know, that's not saying much. So definitely this really convinced me that conventions is off the table. It's like it's not important to me. Honestly, I would rather rethink a lot of things that I'm doing, like for Kickstarter. I'm playing around with backer kit right now. Especially lately, it's been being recommended a lot. So I figured, you know what, let me bite the bullet. I had an account. I was initially playing around with it, but I think I think I gotten to a point. I was kind of crash coursing backer kit yesterday, and I think I kind of got the hang of it. That I kind of understand what I need to do on it. And I'm just and it's like, and I'm just looking. It's like I don't even want to hope. It's like, okay, you know what? Let me just try this out, something a little different. See if it kind of gives a bump or something. If it does something, for my next Kickstarter on the 25th. And just go from there. It's like, you know what? And also the thing is too, I also have to really start implementing the stuff. I really should start implementing the stuff from that book that Tyler recommended. The 1 hour content plan. I have a lot of the modules worked out. I just have to finally implement them. It's like that whole shit or get off the pot thing that I was talking about, the last time we did a stream. I just finally got to implement them. I got to start, making very specific videos to YouTube, building my channel, building my audience where I know where they're at. And conventions is not it. What's funny is that the entire time at Baltimore Comic Con, I had Tyler Carpenter's voice in my head when he was telling the story about when he used to work at his one of his publishers, the publishing house, and the authors would come to him saying, "That's like, oh, I need you to set up a book signing for me," and he would tell them, "No, you don't. You don't need a book signing. Nobody knows who the fuck you are. Nobody knows who you are. Nobody cares about your book." So you're not, it's being, doing a signing is not going to help you. And that's kind of how I felt at Baltimore. But at the same time, I also have to remind myself that this was a problem with everybody in Artist Alley. Like, we were all in that same boat. It wasn't personal to me. It's not like everybody else was doing gangbusters. And I was like going, why is nobody coming to my table? No, nobody was going to nobody's table. That's how that was. So on one hand, I know that it was just a circumstance that didn't work out. And maybe I shouldn't be judging the convention on that. But you know what? Look, like I said, it's like, but at the same time, I still have this need to make it some kind of like personal, like a personal thing. But in the end that it's not. But at the same time, there are things that I do need to finally do to push myself in a direction that I need to go in. Like I said, if anything, I got a lot of thinking out of this. I know the last time we met here, we were talking about me reopening an Etsy store, getting stuff on Etsy, making more generic stationery products. And I really still want to do that. I still think that I can I really do think that's something that I could make work. If I, it's like in conjunction with building the audience for the crowdfunders. It's just actually doing it. That's kind of like where I'm at right now. I'm on that cusp of just fucking do it, but but you know what, like I said, it's like I had just enough energy to even get a stream going. I was about to skip another week, like I said, but I decided, you know what? Motivation follows action. So I decided to force myself to set up the Streamyard. And then once I did the Streamyard, all of a sudden I felt my, I just felt a change, a mental change. I was like, okay, let's focus on doing the live stream. Let's get into some semblance of a routine, right? Because in the end, that's really important. So as you can see, I have a blue line that I'm going to be inking today in Clip Studio Paint. We're back in Clip Studio Paint again. It's been a while since I worked in it because I've been coloring in Photoshop the entire time. But we're back in Clip Studio Paint today. This is going to be more of a comfort video for me. I'm not working on anything seriously. This is just a pinup that's just been sitting around, and I decided I'm just going to finally do it, just so that I'm doing something, but it's not work, so I'm not going to feel too much pressure about it, whether I finish it, don't finish it, because everything that I have to actually work on, I cannot show. That's the funny thing. I'm halfway through Eagle Raven issue 8, and we are in heavy, heavy, heavy spoiler territory. I cannot ink, I cannot color or do anything with these pages on the air, because I don't want to wreck anything. This is a pivotal issue. A lot of major things are happening in this issue, and I don't want to ruin it for anybody until issue 8 comes out. Until issue 8 comes out next year. So I decided to keep it simple, keep it cozy, and that's what I'm going to be working on today. So what I'm going to do, as I kind of like set my thing up here the way I want it, I'm going to run a couple of bumps while I'm going to transfer some stuff over, and and we'll get to work. So so hold on, let me just find my stuff here, and I will be right back.
Show for independents all around, giving you a platform to spread your word all over town. Catch the Craze is the place to promote to your fans with the dream of Medina and Sam the Crazy Man. Subscribe to our show and never miss an episode. It's time to get your mans, listen to us on the go. Updated every week, we never miss a day. Join the squad, come on in. It's time to catch the Craze. If you are an independent, catch the Craze. Making moves on your own, catch the Craze. On your grind in the streets, catch the Craze. Join the movement, catch the Craze.
Yeah, George, we did it again. Come on now. You know you want to do it. Catch the Craze.
Okay, so I wanted to shout out George from Catch the Craze, who actually came by the table and hung out with us for on Saturday. Jose had come; he had come to the show on Saturday and Sunday, and George also showed up as well. And so everyone was kind of him and Jonathan Syfax were hanging out behind the table with us on the and so it's like him, Jonathan, Jose, and our friend Dave. They were just like they were just talking behind the table, and just to show you, nobody came by the table the entire time that they were talking, and they were talking for a while. Hello, Jens. Hello. I'm doing well, thank you. Thank you. And also just to give you an idea too. So So I was sitting diagonally, like from my table. I was able to see Pat Shand. So I was literally able to I have a full view of Pat Shand sitting at his table. And and no, this is a guy who makes money on Kickstarter, and it's like, it's like this guy, I mean, it's like he makes 20, 30, 40, 50, $60,000 every time he every time he puts out a book, right? And even he didn't have anybody coming to his table. He literally was sitting there, like this. I mean, he actually, when he went to do panels, he would just leave his table. He wouldn't, like, nobody would be watching it or anything. And it would just, so again, it's like, this is one, it shows you that just because you're internet famous doesn't mean it translates in the real world. And two, that's how bad the show was. That you could literally just walk away from your table and not worry about anything on it. Although, honestly, I did have one sketchbook stolen on overnight on the table. Hey, gents, oh, you wrote a novel. You know what's really funny? You mentioned that, and it's selling. Yeah, that's it was funny. We were talking about that, how it's like that we're beginning to come full circle, and like, it's like, yeah, because I have a novel that I'm still like in editing and and putting it together and whatnot. And Jose's talking about going back to doing novels again, just to kind of like get that different market. And I know a couple of people who are converting their comic book series into novels. So, so it's like, I don't know. It's like probably after everything is said and done, I might end up also converting Eagle Raven Air the First Unicorn into a novel as well. So, I mean, yeah, a lot of novels floating around. The whole idea about novels. So the screen's just going to glitch for a little bit as I bring in the music, because I forgot to do that. There we go. So Epidemic Sound. Okay, so now I can put my music on. We are going with the Bonnie Grace playlist on Epidemic Sound. They do kind of medieval inspired music. So, I'm not sponsored, by the way, by Epidemic Sound. I just really like them. And it's just really convenient to make playlists that I can use on the streams without having to worry about getting dinged or anything. So it's just very convenient. So yeah, so not sponsored. Not that I would, poo-poo that, but so yeah, okay, so where am I here? Okay, so like I said, I'm working on some just more cozy stuff today. It's not anything having to do with work. I just need I just need to kind of get my mind back on track after not that I was like too distracted by the convention, but now I just have to remember all my all my shortcuts because yeah, I just have to remember all my shortcuts because I've been using Photoshop heavily for the past couple of weeks. And let's see. Okay. Oh, I need this one. And even though the shortcuts are are similar, they're kind of not. So yeah, so now it's like I have to kind of like switch over as to like, okay, which is which and which is where, so yeah, so it's been a little bit since I inked. Well, which is just as well because I have to go back to inking issue 7. Like I said, I'm halfway through it, so I have so I have it colored and everything. It's like ready to go. I just need to finish the other half of the book, which well, I have 6 pages left to ink on it. So everything else, I just need to. I think I have up to I have up to. I can't do math. I have pages that just need to be colored, shaded and colored, and then the last 6 pages I have to actually ink. So so yeah, so I just have to kind of get used to this again, So but Pat Shand, like I said, who's internet famous, I guess, because of Kickstarter. He was just, if I saw like 5 people the entire time I was watching him over the entirety of the weekend, I mean, yeah, really. So yeah, so this whole thing just had me rethinking. Yeah, so I still want to go ahead with the Etsy idea that I was talking about on a previous show stream. And yeah, and it's just and it's just kind of getting my ass in gear on actually implementing those modules. Because what was funny was that, like, I created a list. I created a list of these videos, these very specific videos that I want to do for the channel. But then, because of everything going on, I started adding, like, there's these different videos that I want to do as well, that probably a little bit more personal. There's a style of video that I want to see if I can imitate. It's kind of like these. I'm sure you guys have seen it. It's kind of like these kind of lifestyle type vlogs, but of course I would limit it pretty much to The Office, where I have to make a lot of B-roll footage of me actually working. And like, it's kind of like a vlog, but it has a little bit more to it, as opposed to just me talking to a camera. So yeah, so I have to kind of write out I guess like the bullet points that I want to talk about for that video, and then just actually do it. That's the catch. Oh, yeah, but yeah. So going back to Jen's thing about novels, right? So yeah, so there's this. Mary Bellamy, who's she worked at IDW drawing My Little Pony, and she still does a lot of official My Little Pony work, but she has her own series called Faux Facts, and Aw Heck, and she has her own self-published books that she does. And what she's been talking about on Facebook is that she's been transcribing them to novel form. And No, for real. Oh, I forgot I had the chat up. I forgot I have the little chat widget up. So technically I don't, it's like you're already up on the screen. But Jake, yeah, no, that's also something I have to fit into my schedule. Cause yeah, I have to, there are just some things I can't ignore anymore. Not that I see myself on TikTok anytime soon, but the shorts thing is a thing. It really is a thing. Because I used to get really good numbers on Instagram, and now I'm lucky if anybody sees my shit. You know, like every time I posted on Instagram, I used to get like, you know, like me, like 20, 30 people, you know, liking my, you know, it doesn't sound like a lot, but for me, it was a lot. And now it's like, yeah, I'm lucky if I can get like 5 people to see my stuff and to like it. So yeah, and what I've read was that Instagram, they only want those reels and those shorts. Like they want to pretend that they're TikTok, even though they were photography based, right? Hold on, let me make sure I'm not inking on the blue line. Hold on. Yeah, no, I did lock the blue line layers, so so it's like, yeah, so it just kind of really irks me that for a platform that kind of like prioritized photography is now just wants you to make videos, you know, and it's just like, and it's just obnoxious. But yeah, you're right though, I do have to do that. You know, oh, it's like the gram shot itself. Oh, the gram shot itself in the foot by trying to be. Yeah, exactly. Threads, you know, it's like in the end, Threads is just a side thing for me. I mean, I do like it better than Twitter, that's for sure. But in terms of being worth building on, I don't know. I mean, that's kind of, you know, that's kind of like the annoying thing with this is that yeah, it's just like in order to survive online, you really do have to do a lot. You know, and I guess that's why I guess that's why I just haven't really pushed to get stuff done, because it's like it's a lot of decision paralysis, you know. It's a lot of decision paralysis. But yeah, it's like I just have to you know, just make a decision. It's like, look, I know I like YouTube. I know I like YouTube, so you know, I just might as well push that. You know, start with that. Um, you know, um, you know. Oh, great. Oh, have you tried to grain different stuffs in your drawings, like heavy fabrics and stones? Um, oh, in terms of using textures and whatnot in Clip Studio, I have. Well, I mean, it, in my older work, I used to draw that stuff by hand. All those patterns, I used to draw that stuff by hand. I haven't tried it digitally yet. I know that Vasenia was showing on one of her Twitch streams, like how she does it. Oh, that doesn't look right. You know, how she makes her own patterns and whatnot, and I have to do that too. See, a lot of things, there's a lot of things that I have to do. Yeah. Okay, I think here I can use this. But yeah, it's just it gets exhausting after a while. Oh no, absolutely, absolutely. All ideas are good. It's just you know, there's a lot of ideas floating around. That's, you know, you know, but yeah, but when it comes to like self promo though online, it's like, yeah, it's like Jen said that real life is a new black for me. Internet is too crowded. I mean, yeah, you know, but the ironic thing is that I just spent a weekend at real life and there was no people. There was no people, you know? So, you know, I don't know. But I mean, yeah, that's just, but that's the space where we're in, you know, where it's like, not only, you know, do you have to kind of create, you know, and Tyler talked about this all the time. It's like you have to create content that attracts people to you. You know, and you know, and it's like, you know, and it's like you kind of like you sell your book without talking about your book. We were talking about this the last time. You know, because it's like, yeah, you get people to see you as someone who's a fan of the same stuff they are. And then the idea is that you kind of build them, you know, you kind of like build them into fans of your stuff as well. Oh, excuse me. Oh my goodness, it's the what is it? The seltzer. Came up to say hi. You know, and yeah, so she's, yeah, so Mary Bellamy is converting her her comics into prose. You know, yeah, and yeah, it's like into pretty much she's turning her comics into YA novels, into a series of YA novels. And you know, and I've always talked about how after Heir of the First Unicorn is finished, pretty much all the books after that, unless I'm feeling really, really, you know, they're going to be prose books, because doing comics, I mean, it takes a long time. You know, even though I do everything myself, that's just what it is. I mean, it takes a long time to do. And the stories that I want to tell, you know, the stories. Oh, did I use the wrong? That looks like I used the wrong. We'll fix it. We'll fix it. Yeah, it looks like I used this one. Yeah, that looks, yeah. There, okay. Yeah, we're going to have to fix that a bit. You know, that I was going to do everything after this as prose, because doing them as comics, I'll never get the story done. We have another friend, D Fish, who just put out her first novel in a series of novels that she's a phenomenal comic book artist. But she said that with this story, she was able to write 7 novels in the time it would have taken her to do one issue if she had wanted to do it as a comic. So, it's like, oh, that's why. So, hey, Nita. So, what leg of your trip are you on? Are you in Atlanta? What is it, Atlanta? Are you in Atlanta? No, you were skipping Atlanta. Are you in Georgia? Where are you now? So yeah, so like I said before, Nita is flying to the East Coast, trying to beat out what's the storm? That's the whatever the fuck storm is off the coast of wherever right now. You know, so hopefully she'll be able to get to let's see, hopefully she'll be able to get to, where are you going? Philly, I think, right? Oh, you're delayed in Charlotte. Okay, Charlotte, was that North Carolina or South Carolina? Charlotte, North Carolina. Well, at least you're close. You're halfway there. You're very close, kind of. No. Yeah. So hopefully you're not too much delayed. Because of that storm. We're not supposed to be up here. We're not supposed to be getting anything until the weekend. This weekend. So so going back to the novels, right? So so everything, so D Fish has this 7-volume series she's putting out, right? Krista Crawford was doing, she did a book, she used to do a comic called Wolf and and I don't know if she's still continuing it in comics, but she's spending a lot more time writing novels now, that's for sure. So where's R? So there we go. So hold on, let me make this line here. Hold on. So she's doing novels now. I'm going to be putting out novels in the future. And yeah, I think in the end, it's like getting the productivity and values worth to do prose or novels of the work. It'll be a matter of seeing the output fitting a better format medium. Doing it with the medium in mind is another deal. Of course. Midnight. Okay. It's kind of gross. Midnight is gross. But yeah, of course they overbooked. They always overbook. So because me and Jose were talking about this before, how it's like I said, like even he's thinking of going back and converting some of the Oswald comics into prose. It's like, I swear to God, it's like we're just running in this circle. Time is a flat circle, right? And it's like, and it's like, and I guess in the end, it's like just having a different version of what you're creating is not necessarily a bad thing. I mean, what's funny is that just the other day, I found the beginnings of me converting Eagle Raven issue 1 into prose. I have the very first scene as prose, very, very rough still. And the thing is that, writing prose, it's not just about, it's like, just copying the comic into words, it's like, no, it's like, writing a prose book, what I like about it is that it allows you to delve into areas where you technically couldn't do it in a comic book form, because comic books is the language of comics requires a different thing. Well, that's kind of how I think of it. Like Eagle Raven as a comic would be different as Eagle Raven as prose, because I want to take advantage of what that medium has to offer. Like the novel that I wrote, Cult of the Wolf Witch. That's the next Eagle Raven. That's the Eagle Raven novel that comes after the series. If I had done it as a comic, it would have been a completely different story, because I would have had to put the focus on different things that wasn't the point of what I was writing the novel for. So in a comic, like, the story would have to be a lot more action oriented in comics. And I would have to pretty much cut out a lot of the navel gazing, the navel gazing, more like, the interior dialogue and just kind of like the quieter moments. Let me, okay, this is going to be, hold on. Sometimes the lines end up better if I'm like really close. What am I doing here? Okay. Because it's like the type of story, yes, I agree, Jake. And that's kind of how I see it too. That, because that's what I really enjoy most about writing prose, is being able to kind of like flesh out those interiors, as you put it. Which, in, like I said, in comics, you see, because I guess just to give you the examples. So the novel Cult of the Wolf Witch, the main focus of the book, even though the overall story of the book is Eagle Raven and Loki having to team up to fight this witch that turned into this abomination that wants to, that thinks it's a god, type of thing, right? The story that's kind of like the background story. That's the background. That whole the werewolf clans fighting each other, trying to fight this witch and blah blah blah. That's the background noise. The actual crux of the story is the triangle between Loki, Eagle Raven, and Daniel, and the relationship that is kind of forced in this situation. If I were to do that as a comic, I would have to focus completely on what's on that conflict with the werewolf clans and the witch, because that's the exciting part. That would work best as a comic. And ironically, that's really not the story I wanted. That's why I never considered doing it as a comic, because that's not the story I wanted to tell. I wanted to tell, this is an extremely relationship centered story. And I need the prose to really help with that. Yeah, exactly. Prose has that uncanny ability to produce a feeling that is unique to one's interpretation. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and the images are more literal. The image is like, okay, here I'm literally showing you. Although, even though the novel is going to be illustrated, because I want kind of like the best of both worlds, pretty much. So Oh, actually, I can just cross this. Oh. Okay. Ah, nope, that's wrong. Okay. Almost. Okay, there we go. So so everyone talking, and also I've been really, really obsessing on these romance novel Kickstarters. First it was just doing research, but then I just became fascinated with the whole visual, kind of like the visual language that they're using to sell their books and whatnot. And it's just like there's certain things that I think are a little over the top. Like just yesterday, it's like there was this one book that was just so ridiculous that I had to show Nita. It's like it was just like it's when it was really try hard cringe. It was a book that was like trying so hard, to sell itself as like the filthiest, the filthiest Omegaverse book or something. Oh, no, absolutely, Jake. That is my intention. Jake is saying, please complete the 12 issues before going pure writer mode, though. No, absolutely, because the novels depend on the comic. They're not going to be separate. It's going to be, and actually it's 15 issues. The novels are going to continue where the comic left off. So it's not like I could release the book now and it would make any sense. Okay. Oh, hey, Akia Fern. It was Baltimore Comic Con. I had a good time, but made no money because nobody was there. And I decided that conventions are not really something I want to do. So it only reinforced that. That's the very short summary of the convention that I went to. So yeah, there was nobody there. It was competing with another convention and a baseball game, and it just was no good for anybody. Yeah. You know what? It was kind of like one of those hindsight 2020 type of thing. Yeah, because I know Otakon, I think they moved to DC or something, right? I don't think it was as much of a waste of time, but because we did get to see a lot of people. We only knew online, so it was nice to see them in person. And also, like I said, it helped focus what I'm really supposed to be doing. So if I got a benefit out of that, it was that. So I'm not terribly salty about it. But yeah, it's like the idea is to finish the comic, finish the 15 issues, and then pretty much just transfer everything over to prose. I wasn't expecting to kind of have the idea of rewriting Ego Raven as prose, but the more I think about it, the more I really, really like it. Because again, it would allow me to fill in a lot of details that I couldn't do it in the comic. And no, it wasn't. It wasn't at all. Baltimore Comic Con saw probably half of the attendance they were expecting. The book that I saw on Kickstarter. Yeah, so it was just like they were trying really, really hard to kind of sell it. It's like, oh, this is the dirtiest erotic novel that you're ever gonna read, and blah blah blah. And they had some of the prose there, and it was just so cringy and try hard that it was just like, wow, it sounds like a fanfic that maybe like a 16-year-old our 17-year-old is trying to write, trying to sound like really, really mature and edgy, but instead it's just like all I got out of it was like giggling drunk wine mom vibes, you know. So so I don't know, it was just funny. So I'm just looking through all these romance fantasy novels, and and it's just really no. What am I doing? Oh, I didn't. Okay. Oh, that's right. I didn't save it. Let's save. So it's like I get at least save what little inking I've done already. Okay, there we go. Oh, even you see, even Okia Fern is writing a novel. I mean, it's like, you see, this is the funny thing though. Yeah, I'm having a hard time with that too. Getting my because I was, because Nita is supposed to be my beta reader, one of my beta readers, and she was having such a hard time finding the time to concentrate to read my novel that she actually came up with the idea of that when she's here, that I'll actually read the novel to her, as kind of like an audiobook. And I'm actually really excited at the idea, because it's like I like the idea of reading out loud. So maybe you need to do an audiobook. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe you have to offer up an audiobook of your book for people to actually read it. Because that's also another thing that's on the docket that I want to do the audiobook for the prequel, the Eagle Ravens prequel, Legend of the Silk Rose. So I want to release an audiobook of that. So hopefully by the time the second volume comes out, I'll have that ready. Those shits take a long time to edit though. I mean, I've already done some testing with that, and yeah, they take a long time to edit. And so yeah, so that's what we're going to be doing. I'm going to be reading her my my novel to her so that she can edit it that way. Yeah, but yeah, so yeah, novels on the brain. Oh yeah, no, that it those things take a long time. They do. I mean, it's like, what? I think I had a fanfic that took me about 5 years to write. So yeah, so it's like, I finished. It took me a year to write this novel that I'm doing that I'm doing now, and yeah, it's going to be like this October is going to be 1 year since I finished the novel. So that's why it's like I'm that's why it's like I'm trying to like kind of get the process of of getting it edited and getting like the cover painted and that kind of stuff done. So it's like I kind of feel like I'm moving ahead with the book, even though I still have all these issues of the comic to do. I mean, honestly, I will not be surprised if this novel is not done until I finish issue 15. Like, that's how long it's going to take for all of us for me, Nita, and Jose to collectively edit and work on this book. But I'm not in a rush because, again, I want to finish the 15 issues. You know, yes, very much decision paralysis. Very much. That's the word of the day is decision paralysis. Um, you know, um, let me do these first. Oh, executive dysfunction. You know, that's what happens when there's so much to do. There's so much to do. And it's like, yeah, I have to kind of like in the end, I have to pick something, and that's the thing that I have to focus on. What's funny is that preparing for Baltimore Comic Con actually inadvertently did that for me, because what Baltimore, it's like once I have this setup for Baltimore, like once I had done everything, uh, exactly. Oh wait, let's choose our words better, or maybe that is the right words to use. Once I had Baltimore stuff in a corner and ready to go, it forced me to then focus on, it's like, okay, what do I want to finish before I go? And that's how I ended up with the first 15 pages of Eagle Raven issue 8 completely finished. I was coloring it and everything, because I hyper focused. So in a sense, you know, the convention was good for that. I don't know if I would have gotten as far without the convention to push me, you know, because that's how horrible I am with this, you know, with the scheduling stuff and whatnot. So, and when it comes to, I don't like that. Let's go here. What was I saying? When it comes to all this stuff that I need to do to hopefully build my audience for Kickstarter, that's kind of what I'm trying to convince myself, that it's like I have to like use that. It's like, okay, if I don't do these things, my Kickstarters are still going. It's like my Kickstarters are going to flounder. Flounder. Either fish or whatever. I don't know. Doesn't sound like I'm using the right word. That they're going to not do as well. If I don't do these things, if I don't do the YouTube thing, if I don't, you know, like do more strategic social media posting. So that's kind of like the next thing that I'm trying to get myself to overcome that decision paralysis. Oh, that's the music that I used for the Gabby story, for the Tall Tales or so. I thought I really like it. I've been really happy with the trailers that I've been making lately. So you know, there's this pen brush tip that I saw Vicente. I'm gonna have to find, I don't know, where it's like you're doing a brush, but it's outlining instead. So it's like, instead of me struggling to do this, technically I would just have to do just one line and it'll automatically make that outline. I gotta find the tutorial on how to do that, because this would have been a lot easier. I've seen a couple of artists do it, so I probably should be able to find a tutorial rather easily. Yeah. Yeah, so in the end, I mean, I'm going to turn out more like Richard and Wendy Peeney than I expected. You know, aside from spending 30 years on the same 30, 45 years of the same property. Because like, yeah, every variation that I can release these books, I'll probably do. I still want to do the Tankoban idea with Eagle Raven and Tall Tales, you know, like releasing black and white Tankoban versions of those books in manga size. You know, I still want to do that. So I guess it's like, you know, is it really a stretch to redo, you know, Heir of the First Unicorn as novels later on? You know, no, it's just another variation of format, you know, that I want to do. Oh, I like this one. I gotta use it for something. But yeah, so I just find it funny how prose just happens to be a thing that a lot of people are talking about lately. Hmm. You know, and also it's like I think too that especially being able to do audiobooks, you know, that I think that offers a level of convenience for people as well, who, you know, maybe, you know, they wouldn't buy a book, but they'll buy an audiobook. They wouldn't buy a comic, but oh, you have an audio version of it. And it's like, and it's just kind of like really interesting to think about the crossover potential of that. You know, where it's like, you know, imagine one campaign. I mean, which is not, I've seen, and the thing is with the fact that I've seen other people do it, it's like, okay, so it's obviously viable. Where it's like, not only do they have a comic, they have a prose novel, and then they have an audiobook of it. You know, and it's like, you know, how can you go wrong? It's all there in one campaign, right? So that would be something nice to be able to get to. No. You know, because like I still remember when I re-edited Eagle Raven issue 1 as a visual novel ish, kind of. I was just reading it out loud. It's on my YouTube channel if you haven't seen it. It's Eagle Raven issue 1, read by me. It has music and sound effects, the best of my ability at the time. But I'm reading the book out loud. I'm reading the comic to you out loud. And and the funny thing is like, I still remember my mother saying that how she loved it because it was the first time that it's like, she was actually able to to actually hear the story, and because she's watching this on a TV screen, she could see the panels. So it worked out really well for her. So HR says, have you played with a light gray outline and dark to black inside form, then lay color over? No, I haven't tried that. It's like what, like coloring over gray tones? I've done that physically. I've done sketch covers where I've colored them in grayscale and then tinted them with color. Very interesting effect. I don't know if that's what you're talking about. Light gray outline and dark to black inside form. I mean, is there an example of that you can recommend I look at? Because now I'm trying to imagine what it looks like. Just so that well, I have to go back into the chat and I know that you what MCM I think is that mid-century modern. Right. Okay, so I would have to so I could find examples of that. A light gray outline and dark to black inside. If you can, it's like, is there like a particular artist that you could recommend I look at for that? Because that, interesting styles are always interesting to look at. 50s, 60s. Okay, sure. I'll take a look at. Because it's like because trying to imitate different styles is always fun. Ben Sean. Okay, so we have a name. So let me look that up really quick. So Ben Sean. Hold on. Let me see if I spelled that right. Oh, I did. Okay. Oh, influenced. Hold on. Did I get the Ben Sean? Right. It's influenced by Pablo Picasso. Oh, I see. Right. Yeah. Just like really, really. Oh, yeah. I've seen this type of. Like it's kind of like minimalist, but not. And then it's like, oh, what's the name of that artist? Oh, I have Steadman, Ralph Steadman. Like his stuff kind of reminds me of that, although Steadman is a lot more colorful. So it's kind of like that he's doing I definitely see what it's kind of like we do lithography. Look, we can look at everything. We can look at everything, because it's like it is. Yeah, I mean it. You know what it is? This is the type of stuff that we studied back at SVA at school when I was in college at the School of Visual Arts. Those were really the type of cartoons that I know there was one particular class we were studying, and that type of artwork. You know what's funny is that I think it took me. I don't like the way that looks. It took me a while. Like when I was in school, I really didn't appreciate. Like you know what? You know there really are. Well, you know, there's because there are always going to be people copying without understanding what the original is doing. You know, so you're always going to get some air stats or air stats version of you know, of the original. But yeah, it's like it's just really funny how like I didn't learn to really appreciate that type of artwork until much later. Like there really is it's like, you know, like certain art styles you really need to be mature to kind of to understand it, like to really see the appeal. um you know, because it's like I remember um you know, because I remember like having to learn about these things, about those styles, and going to galleries to see them. But um yeah, it's like, you know, it was kind of like pearls before swine type of thing when I was back. um yeah, you know, it's like, you know, it's like when we were at the Museum of Modern Art a couple of months ago, and because we were there for the Guillermo del Toro Pinocchio exhibit, but we stayed for the rest of the museum. And it was very, I really had to remind myself not to have a knee-jerk reaction to the contemporary artists or whatnot, because remember kids, the only people calling art degenerates are Nazis and fascists. Remember, calling art degenerate is fascist. So you know, so I had to remind myself of that, you know. But you know, we you know, we went, you know, we went through the museum, right? And then it's like, you know, like the Francis Bacon paintings hit different. Yeah, they hit different now. They really do, you know. Yeah, it's like, you know, when you see the Picassos, you know, it's like, yeah, they hit different. You know, it's like, you know, when you're younger, that's those are the paintings you shit on because you don't understand it. You know, it's like, um you know, and it's like, you know, seeing them now is, you know, it's like, you know, like looking at a Mondrian and getting it, you know. Yeah, I mean, you know, yeah, the Francis Bacon ones, I mean, no, it's just, yeah, like I said, they hit different now. um and it's actually nice, you know. um I'm partial to Alexander Calder myself. You know, it's like, you know, so it's like, you know, made sure to see some of his works there. Although I didn't get to see the one that was on the roof. No, I think that's on the roof of the Met. There's a Calder somewhere on a roof. You know, and yeah, and it's just like really funny, you know, thinking about, you know, and it's like, what's really strange is like, as someone who grew up on El Greco and Goya and Velasquez and, you know, like all, you know, like, you know, it, you know, it's, you know, it's like, I don't know why it took me so long to understand Francis Bacon. You know, like I don't know, it was just I don't know, like I said, sometimes you kind of, yeah, you have to grow into it. You know, you really do need, there's a sense of maturity that you need to understand certain certain art styles. And I think, and it's funny because it's like, I think that that's also kind of like, oh, no, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. And there's something about seeing the black paintings in person. Really, the black canvases, there's just, I saw the Witch's Sabbath. I mean, it's like, it's like the, the Kronos eating his son. It's like when you see that shit in person, you don't realize you stopped breathing. I mean, and I think that that's what gets lost in this whole AI bullshit. Where it's like there's way too many people out there who think that it's all about matching the carpet. It's like matching the sofa. That as long as it's aesthetic, that's the purpose of art. And it's like, no, you know what? I think the purpose of art is to make you stop breathing. I really do. I know. We were just talking about that, right? That there's no curiosity, and and it's like, and there's a certain, and it's like, yeah, and it's like there's a certain maturity that you need in order to look at these paintings and understand them, and how necessary it is to see them in person. You can see photos. I think honestly, it's like, I think that really hit me on the head when I visited the Louvre for the first time. Not that I've never been to a museum before, up until, like I said, I saw the black canvases in person, but it wasn't until I went to the Louvre where I guess it's like that's there where you really see, like when you see Winged Victory. This is a statue that every goddamn student art book has this picture in it. The statue, the Winged Victory. It's the one without the head and, the arms. But looking at it in person is a completely different experience. What's really funny is that, you have all these people, all the Japanese tourists lined up before the Mona Lisa. It's like, yeah, I got to see the Mona Lisa, but it was La Odalisque that impressed me. It's like, it's the one where it's the famous one of the lady in this, the courtesan sitting, lounging, and she has the fan, and she has this really, really blue, I guess like sheet on her or something. It's really famous. But again, to see that in person is a completely different experience. It's honestly, it hit me like a ton of bricks when I saw the Eiffel Tower in person for the first time. We were literally, it's like, when we were jet lagged to shit, right? We were literally stumbling outside of our hotel room because, it's like we didn't know what we were doing. We ended up at the Eiffel Tower. We sat down, right? And we were staring up at it. And it was at that moment, right? At that moment that I go, now I get it. Now, mind you, right now, you can't do that anymore because now the entire thing has a security gate around it. So you have to pay, I guess, to get in through it kind of like, but still though, it's like, so we're sitting there at night, staring up at the Eiffel Tower, seeing it in person, right? You see that lattice work, it's like, this is why it's an engineering marvel. It's like you're looking at it and it's like, oh, now I get it. now it's like you've seen it's like photos just flatten the shit out of it. It's the same thing with the paintings. Photos flatten the shit out of it. So it's like, it's and it's like now it's like now I get it. Being at the Louvre and seeing the coronation of Josephine, it's a giant fucking painting. And it's like, now I get it. You're seeing the capsizing of the Medusa? It's like now you get it. Now I get it. And again, it's like, and I'm at the Museum of Modern Art. I'm looking at Francis Bacon, and it's these paintings that are almost in a corner, like it's in a little corridor that people just walk through without paying attention, right? And then it's like I'm walking through it and I'm like, oh shit, it's Francis. That's a Francis Bacon. And I think there was like a couple of them, and it's like, it's like, you have to give reverence to it. The painting called to you, and it's like, oh shit, like they had some of Monet's water lilies. They had a special room with these giant ass, with the canvases, the water lilies. And it's like, holy shit, it's like, I am literally in the presence of greatness. It's like they had a Klimt. It's like a mother and child, I think it was. And it's like, and it's kind of like you stop being able to move. That's what art is supposed to do. It's like you stop breathing, you stop moving. I'm staring at this Klimt, right? And I'm literally standing there going, I am in the presence of greatness. The MoMA is famous for having Starry Night, Van Gogh's Starry Night. It's the same thing. Except that one had a visceral reaction. Like the painting is so famous. Like people are literally walking into the room where Starry Night is, and they're going, Starry Night, it's Starry Night, it's Starry Night. Like it might have been George Clooney there or Brad Pitt, and they're treating the painting exactly the same way. Where it's like everybody's whispering the name of the painting and staring. That's what art is supposed to do to you. That's what it's not just supposed. I mean, yeah, you can have art that matches the sofa. But if you think that's art, what art is meant for, you're missing the entire point. You're missing the entire point of it. Which again, I think that's the conversation that gets lost in, with the conversation about AI and everything, where it's like that they think, oh, as long as it's aesthetic. And it's like, no, it's like, I have never had, and I have never seen an AI piece make me stop. Maybe going, why does the shit have 6 fingers? Maybe to do that. But, I mean, you need a human to have a human emotion, to feel the human emotion through it. That's what, and it doesn't have to be kind of like a literal, because also, I think like the opposite end of AI, like the other side of the AI are those weird return guys, where it's like they have the Greek statues and they say, oh, what made you stop? What made civilization stop making art like this? And it's like, fucking racists like you. It's like, actually, I mean, cut that out. It's like, no, it's like these are just different. It's different. It's like, look, it's like a Greek bust and a Francis Bacon to me is like, they're the same sides of, I don't know, it's more like a dice, I think. I don't know. It's like, No, absolutely. That's exactly the person behind it are the enigma. That's what gives art its humanness. You know, AI doesn't. I mean, really, I mean, honestly, it's yeah. I mean, really, I cannot understand these people who look at AI and say, "Oh, that's the same shit." The hell it is. You know, and then it's like, you know, because and then it's like you have the people who look at Francis Bacon, it's like, oh, that's not art, that's degenerate, that's what. And I was like, remember what I said. The only people who call art degenerate are fascists, and we don't want that. You know, again, it's like the people who look at Picasso and say, oh, I could do that. It's like, yeah, but you didn't. And the problem is that even if you did, you wouldn't understand what you were doing. You know, it's like Picasso wasn't just doing cubism. He wasn't just painting ridiculous shapes. I mean, really, it's like it's yeah, it's like, you know what, when you know, you know. It's like that. I mean, in the end, that's what it boils down to. When you know, you know. You know, and it's like, yeah, and when you're and I think that sometimes you have to be older to understand what these connections are. You know, you know, it's like even to have an appreciation of Rothko. You know, this is a guy who's just painting, who superficially is just painting stripes on a canvas. But now I get why. You know, it's like I get it. You know, and and that's why it is incredibly important. And you know what? And I kind of think that the reason, you know, I mean, I mean, I kind of think that that's the reason why, like AI, people are acting the way they are, because they haven't been to a museum. They only see, like, you know, these stupid executives. They only see art as commodities. You know, they could literally have a Picasso in their living room, but all they see is the amount of money that it's insured for, or whatever clout that it gives them, but they don't see the art. You know, they don't think about anything. You know, so that's why they say, oh, we could just replace you guys with AI. What's the big deal? No, it's a big deal. It is a big deal. It is a big deal. You know? Yeah, it's I don't know. You know, but also it's like I really do think that yeah, it's like that looking back now, I understand what my teachers were trying to do. Oh, that must have been a private house with Picasso in it. Ooh, wow. You know? Um that's something. That's something, you know. Like I understand now what the teachers were trying to do, but it only took me until now to get it. You know, to be able, you know, to look at a Jeff Koons, you know, and kind of like, yeah, they're kitschy, but that's the point, you know. Um, you know, it's like, you know, when you look at Murakami, you know, with his super flat, you know, and his weird hentai statues. It's like, you know, it's like you kind of like, I get it, you know. It's like, is it weird? Yes, but that's kind of the point, you know. Um, because honestly, it's like, honestly, what I don't know, It's yeah, and I really do think a lot of these kids growing up on this shit, that they don't have that, because they're so wrapped up in the commercialization of art, that they don't that they don't understand what they're looking at, especially, you know. And it's like, and I think that that's why it's important that you have to visit museums, you know. And it's like, because when we were at the MoMA, you had the classes going through, right? And you could see the kids who were bored to tears because they didn't understand the significance of what they were looking at. But trust me, I'm hoping that 20 years from now, they're going to look back on that and go, oh shit, now I understand. Now I get it. You know, even something, even looking at like an Andy Warhol, you know, it's like, now mind you, with Andy Warhol, every time I see an Andy Warhol, I always remember the teacher. I don't remember if it was SVA, the school, or it was School of Visual Arts. I'm pretty sure it was School of Visual Arts. No, it was the High School of Art and Design. He was my high school teacher. He was the guy who did the graphic design for the Brillo box. He essentially designed the Brillo box. And he had been salty about Andy Warhol for the entirety of his life, for the entirety of when I knew him. You know? Yeah, I know. What was the other one? Lonesome Cowboy. Lonesome. You know? Although sometimes, you know, sometimes you kind of have to laugh at that. It's like, oh, you're just fucking with us, aren't you? You know? So yeah, so for the life of me, I can't remember the name of the teacher, but he was salty about Andy Warhol the entire time. And I mean, like, he couldn't mention his name without rage in his voice, because he says, I was the one that designed that fucking box. And all that asshole had to do was put it on a pedestal and he became famous for it. You know? And it's like, well, that's marketing for you. I mean, if there was anything to get, if there was any takeaway from Andy, was, you know, is marketing. All you need is good marketing. Yeah. Those lines are too thick. Okay, let me start here again. Well, I was watching a video the other day that was kind of discussing that, how it's like, yeah, where it's like a lot of the art scene is mostly just well, it's like right now the art scene, the contemporary art scene, the way it is, it's like, well, the rich got to money launder somehow. This is how the rich money launder. You know, and you know, and it's like, yeah, and it's just like, and how much a lot of it is now about marketing, being able to market artwork. And yeah, you know, and it's like, you know, you have all these trust fund babies whose their fathers know these art galleries, and all of a sudden everybody's an artist, you know. I mean, it really just goes to show you is that when you're rich, you can literally be anything you want. You want to be an artist? Oh, daddy knows somebody. You know, you want to be a musician? Mom knows somebody. You know, it's like you want to do this, you want to do anything. It's like, oh, don't worry about it. Your uncle knows a couple of people. You know, or you know, and it's like, yeah, it's just, yeah. and then it's like you have these guys who it's, and then, yeah, it is. Yeah, I mean, it's just very frustrating, and meanwhile, I'm sitting here, drawing this, inking this in, and wondering how can I get my Kickstarters to improve? you know I mean, it's I don't know, it's art is a funny thing. It really is. Yeah, it's the moral of the story: go to a fucking museum. That's the moral of the blog today. Just go to a museum. Go to a museum, have a good time, stare at some artwork, have some artwork speak to you, choke you out, throw you on the floor. Make you have visions. It's like that's what artwork is supposed to do. Go do that. Go to a museum and do that. Yeah. Go see a Frida Kahlo in person. Go see a Diego Rivera mural. Go see some Francis Bacon. It's like I really have to appreciate. I mean, are you familiar with Marshall Arisman? He passed recently. He was an American illustrator who I actually had him as a teacher for SVA at SVA for one of my classes. And and to see Marshall Arisman's work and how much he was inspired by Francis Bacon is really interesting. Oh, there's a documentary of his that also came out recently, so I gotta go find that. I just remember him being like this quirky old guy. He was pleasant enough, I guess. I try not to remember my time at SVA too much. But yeah, so everybody go to a museum, go buy yourself a nice Alexander Calder mobile to put on your desk. Yeah. Oh, was that his? I remember seeing that. I had the version with the photo on it. I didn't have the Marshall Arisman version. Although that would be the perfect cover for American Psycho. So that's what I should do. I need to get myself an Alexander Calder like desktop version mobile, thing. I need to. I need to next time I go, I'll make sure to pick one up. Or get something that hangs from the ceiling. I think my ceiling fan might get in the way. But yeah, I need that. I need that. So like I said, today was a very non-serious day. I just wanted to just start on something that would kind of get me into some kind of routine, kind of get me back into a kind of like a warm I'll do that. He did the cover for Silence of the Lambs too. Yeah. So it's like, it was just something for us to, just for me to kind of just work on while we were talking and whatnot. And I think we had a pretty good conversation today. I think so. I think we did. So, so there we go. So I think that's a very nice cool down from the convention, from the convention stuff. So let me just shut off the the music right there. So yeah, so I don't know if I'm going to continue working on this. I still got some stuff that I got to do. Thank you, HR. Thank you. Yes, definitely we had a good conversation. And Jake as well. Thank you so much, everybody else too. Everybody else in the chat. Thank you so much, everybody in the chat, for joining in today. It's like I hope you got a little something out of it, if only to maybe question the ability, your need to go to a convention if you don't have to. So I'll probably slowly finish this in the next couple of days or something. Maybe I don't know. It depends on how I feel. Like I said, I got to do some other things as well. I got to finish my laundry. Boring stuff, but that's kind of how it works, right? So let me just switch over. There we go. There it is. Let me just put this over here. So I think we had a really nice time today. Thank you so much, everybody, for coming. Thank you so much, everybody in the chat. Thank you so much for my eyeball people watching who actually, and I hope that you are working along with me. Yes, thank you, HR. Thank you. Thank you, sir. It's like if you hadn't shown me that artwork, it's like we wouldn't have gone in the direction that we did. So you see, that's why, I like these things. You see, even doing a live stream, I think is better than a convention. Okay, so where am I here? So yeah, so before we sign off for the day, I just want to remind everybody that Eva Raven, the Unicorn King's Daughter, the one-shot Conan parody book that I will be releasing will be released on September 25th on Kickstarter. It's actually a 3-comic set. So if you don't want the parody and you just want a book and you just want the shorts book that has the shorts that were collected from previous campaigns that can kind of continue and add to the Heir of the First Unicorn storyline, that is also on this campaign as well. But the main focus of the campaign is the parody book, The Unicorn King's Daughter, which is a kind of like an alternative universe one-shot, and also the corresponding adults only supplement, which is also similar, but adults only, when this main book is kind of mature audiences, and the Tales from the Outer Kingdom collection is a general audiences book that relates to the main series. So it'll be launching on September 25th. Links are in the show notes below so that you can go ahead and go to the pre-launch page to get notified when the campaign goes live. Also, its sister campaign, Sky of Thorns. This is a collaboration campaign that I'm going to be doing with Krista Crawford. This is her fantasy novel series, Sky of Thorns. It's a 3-volume fantasy romance set. And I'm going to have a stretch goal print on this campaign so that when we reach, she hasn't announced like what the stretch goal is, but when we reach a certain goal, you will be able to get the print that I made for this campaign. And if you support both the Unicorn King's Daughter and Sky of Thorns, if you pledge to both campaigns, you will also get a special collaborative print that you will only get by supporting both campaigns. So again, links are in the show notes below to get notified when they both go live on September 25th. Also, last but not least, J.D. Calderon's and C. Michael Lanning's book, Magi's Grace, is currently on Kickstarter as well. It is a 4-issue urban fantasy series about a pair of monster hunters that get sent to a seaside town because of some strange goings on between some vampires and fish people, because hey, all the strange things have to happen at seaside towns. So Magi's Grace, the first issue of a 4-issue limited series, is on Kickstarter right now. Again, links are in the show notes below. So yeah, so if you want to learn more, oh wait a minute, I forgot my poof, and poof, there we go. There we go. Now we're officially ending the stream. So yeah, so like I said, thank you again, everybody, for joining me, keeping me company as I'm trying to like get my brain together to get back to work on all the stuff that I need to do. But hey, you know, let's focus on one thing at a time so that we can try to avoid that decision paralysis. So if you want to learn more about me and my artwork and everything else that I do, including my future campaigns, you got to head on over to my main portfolio site at egoworks.com, EGOWORKS, where you can find links to all of my galleries and social media sites, including here. But I mostly post to Facebook if you are interested in seeing sketches and current work in progress and whatever live updates I might have. Oh, and if I decide to finish this piece, it will also be on Facebook as well. And remember that you can catch all my videos on how I make my comics and my artwork, and also all my vlogs on my channel at Daphne Lage, Lage Art. And remember that it also simulcasts through the Indie Comics Network. So make sure you like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so that you get notified whenever any of the shows go live. So next week, I'm most likely not going to have a live stream because I will be taking Nita to a museum. So Nita's going to be here. We're going to have a good time. We're going to see Central Park and probably hit the Met while we're there. Who knows? It's like, you know, anything can happen. You know, eat some truck falafel while we're at it. We're going to have a fun time. So there's not going to be any live stream on Wednesday next week. However, we are going to have another vlog on Friday, this coming Friday at 11 a.m., where she will be broadcasting from Heather's basement. Literally. So we're going to have a really fun time there. Make sure to not miss it. And remember, you can read Ego Raven, Air the First Unicorn, for free, uploading every day, Monday through Friday. But if you prefer your fantasy to be more of a furry Lord of the Rings adventure, you can follow the link over to Tall Tales, TAILSonline.com. And not only can you read the first 20 issues of Tall Tales for free, but you can catch up on the latest story arc, Tears of the Mother, which is also currently uploading Monday through Friday, which only reminds me that I have to edit more pages so that I can continue the uploads so that you don't miss an upload. So I keep hitting the wrong thing here. So thank you so much, everybody, for coming today. Thank you for keeping me company, and we're doing some artwork, talking some art, and remember to visit museums as often as you can, because you know what, you do need to see these things in person to really get the full experience. You know, all the photos in the world doesn't do it justice. You have to, you know, it's like make a point to see this stuff in person. You know, so thank you again, everybody, for coming. And yeah, and I will see you next time.
You are all weirdos. Ugh.